can stop you from being deceived. If you try to find out what's up my sleeve, you can figure out what a bag of means. If you try, nothing can stop you from being deceived. Nothing can stop you from being deceived. Nothing can stop you from being deceived. Nothing can stop you from nothing can stop you from being deceived. Nothing can stop you from being deceived. Nothing can stop you from being deceived. Nothing can stop you from nothing can stop you from being deceived. Nothing can stop you from being deceived. Nothing can
this thing, man.
Right.
I didn't catch what you was
Right.
because I was fighting my Wi-Fi,
doubt.
so I don't know what's going on, man. All I heard was
No,
it's
it's all
important,
good.
something important, but I'm here now. What's important? Talk to me.
What's good? No, it was a couple. There was a barber on here that was saying they were introduced to our podcast through Cut Flow Dre, and just was saying that Dre had helped him out, man. He really was having a tough time, and Dre gave him a pep talk and just kind of was able to redirect himself. And I was just telling him, just stick to the grind and believe in himself, and find a shop that works for him. But if the skill is there, keep working on the skill, the quality of his cut. If he continues to do that and believe in himself, he'll build himself
Most
up.
definitely.
And he'll be all right.
Shout out Dre, Cut Flow Dre. That's what Dre is, man. Dre just a
Yes,
big
sir.
hearted dude, man. He gonna help you, help you, and if he can't help you, he gonna point you in the direction of somebody who can. But to be a brother, you said it was a brother or sister?
Absolutely. I believe it was a guy. I had the, let me see. I had the pen. Let me see.
Well,
if I
to the
can
brother
find-
or sister that
can't
was
find
asking
it.
that question,
Yeah.
definitely. What Ash was just saying is those are the major important things, man. Just make sure that you're approaching it the best way you can. Just don't. I think too much emphasis get put on I'm barber and I'm a barber. Approach it as though
Right.
you're a business. You're a business. You're a franchise. Approach it as though you've already stepped on the other side of what you need as far as business. Now it's time to figure out how to approach it.
It's a brother. Yeah, that's what SB.
SB.
I'm
Trim
sorry. I
is what's going
apologize,
on.
to brother.
But yeah, that's the person that asked the question, right? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely just approach it the best way you can, especially if you still putting down your foundation. Focus on your foundation. Don't focus on nothing else. Don't focus on nothing more than putting down your foundation and promoting yourself. You get those things in order. And of course, let me see what you say. Focus on your foundation, promote yourself, and be the most professional person in whatever place, whatever shop you in, be the most professional person now. Be the most consistent person, the most professional person now.
Right.
Everything else will come. Your speed will come. Your consistency will come. Your ability to do different techniques and different ways of understanding your tools, that'll come. All that come with time. The things that you focus on right now is your professionalism, your consistency, and your foundation, and promoting yourself. You do those things, it don't matter where you at, bro. You're gonna be straight. You're gonna be good.
Right. And I would say also try to place yourself in a shop with people that can help you grow. You want to be around people who, are passionate about it, but at the same time want to see the people next to them grow. Some people that you can learn from. I think that's one of the biggest things that you could do. Yeah. Also, Diamond Edge. Kay, what's good, bro? I remember meeting you. I don't know if you met him, Shy, when we were in Miami. Yes, sir. So he was just saying. He said, hold on, He was saying when could he come on? When could he come on the show? And wanted to know if we were going to New Orleans for Bronner Brothers this year.
When is Bronner this year? When is it?
What next week? I think is it the first through the third, something like that.
If it's that soon
of April,
I probably won't be there. That's soon for me. I haven't seen. Honestly, this is the first year I hadn't seen much promoted about Bronner's on social media. You said it's this weekend. Yeah, I'm definitely not gonna make that.
Yeah. I for me, I'm not gonna make it. I just came back from New Orleans for the first time. So me and the wife already had that planned, and so we went out there. So I'm gonna turn around 2 weeks later and shoot back out there.
Yeah, yeah.
And,
I've been noticing,
go ahead.
man, a lot of shows are not being promoted. They're not being promoted. And then even the shows that are being promoted, the people, the educators in the shows and the people who are part of the organizations of the shows, they're not sharing the promotion, so it's not getting out. The net that's being casted is not a big net. There should be no reason why neither one of us knew when Bronner's in New Orleans was going to be. All I follow is barbers.
Right.
All
And I see
for the majority is barbers, right?
Right.
So that means that the chances of one of us following somebody associated with that show is highly increased, right? The odds are real favorable. But the only people that's promoting the show is the people that's throwing the show and maybe one or two other people. That's why the show's not getting known about. So it's hard to keep up with what show is going to be where and when it's going to happen when ain't nobody else promoting it. If you associated with them shows, anybody promotes, especially if the shows are putting y'all on the flyers. If you on the flyer of the show, you got a class or you got a talking point or whatever, you got a booth. I would think that it would be in everybody associated with the show's best interest to promote the shows. The more people promoting the shows, the more people are aware that they're happening, the more it's going to attract people to come to them. I ain't see nothing, bro. I ain't see nothing.
So for me, and I know we talked about it because we both attended in Miami, Diamond Edge.
Yeah.
They attended, they had a booth. I love Bronner Brothers. I love what they do. I love their consistency, their longevity, everything. And they really in 2019 going to the show in 2019 in Atlanta put a battery in my back and done something for me. And that's one thing, SB Trims, I can say, man, if you surround yourself, go to one of these barber shows, man, you know, one of the good barber shows, trade shows, man, and get around some people that are really passionate and love it, and you can learn skills and you can learn different things and rub elbows and network, man. It'll put your mindset in a whole different place, man. That was my experience in 2019. And to be totally honest with you, when we went, what was that shot? What month was that?
Was it last year? I want to say it was last year. I was,
you know, it was 2022, but I don't remember what month
it was hot outside.
But I was
right.
Was it August?
It was hot outside.
Right. I was disappointed in terms of the lack of the lack of barbering in the show as a whole. In terms of when I first went, it was such a great balance of you know, cosmetology and hairstyling and barbering. We went to an awesome platform event with Yusuf Barber out of Atlanta, Miami Barber out of Miami, and Kane's Barber out of Miami. And we had this platform. There was no promotion. There was nothing. How many? It might have, with the barbers, the sound people from Bronner's, and just us sitting out there, it might have been a total of what, 10 people?
And that's what I mean. That's part of the problem, bro. Is Bronner in general, right? And I'm not speaking on Bronner as a brand because I don't know what all goes into putting together a Bronner show. I don't know. I'm sure a whole lot of moving parts to put together that show. However, what I can speak to, and what I can speak on, is my experience in this barbering industry. And in my experience in this barbering industry, the reason that a show like Bronner is getting further, it seems like it's getting further and further away from barbers, because if you notice, at this point, barbers take up a little small corner at Bronner's. That's the reality of it. We take up a small corner, and then they might scatter you out a little bit with some cape booths, and then you have majority of the barbers that's moving in the industry is going to be right next to the wall booth, right? That's what K Fox was at this year. He was right close to the wall booth. That's kind of what you see when you first come in. But more than, I want to say 75 to 80% of the Bronner is beauty hairstylists, celebrities from Real Housewives of Atlanta stuff. Like it's not catered to barbers. is not conditioned for barbers, and here's why I think that is. I don't think that's on the fault of Bronner Brothers. I think that Bronner Brothers is they're seeing as a collective, they're watching the numbers, they're watching the ticket sales, they're watching the promotion. And I hate to say this, so people not going to agree with me on this point, but I don't care. I'm not here for you to agree with everything I got to say. I'm going to say what I feel. One of the biggest reasons that we're not represented as much as we feel like we should be when it comes to a show as big as Bronner is because barbers don't support one another the way that stylists do. It's the absolute truth. Stylists go to them shows in drones. I agree with that. They pulling up 5, 6 deep going to them shows.
I agree.
That's not saying that all barbers don't support other barbers, but the majority of barbers, they won't even go to the shows in their own city to support barbers putting on the show to benefit barbers in their city. So it's that again, that goes to Bronner Brother introduces a show. We say it's going to be this big thing for barbers, and then 90% of the people that see it are barbers, and they don't share it. They don't repost it. They don't comment. It's not getting no traction. So if you the person putting on the show, and over the span of years, you seeing that your attraction of barbers is decreasing, and your influence and your attraction to stylists and cosmetologists and estheticians and everything else in the beauty industry is increasing, what would you do? You got to pivot. You got to adjust. I'm not going to keep promoting to one demographic and it's not suitable for business. I'm going to promote to the demographic of people who are interested in the product that I'm trying to present. The people that are interested don't be there. The people that's not, you know, no hard feelings.
And I agree. And the crazy thing, like one of the educational classes that I attended was Kenny Duncan. And that was probably up to this point the best class that I've
was
ever
that last
attended.
year, or are you talking about back? That was in Miami?
No, in Miami.
I had no idea Kenny Duncan was going to be there.
And it just wasn't. Yeah, it was. And he was at the Andis booth quite a bit, but he had a class, man, and it was so well put together. The techniques he taught, how articulate, you know, he was, man. It was a great class. It's the best class probably that I've been to, but it just wasn't enough. Like we as barbers, and you make a good point, just wasn't represented well. And so I'm so excited to go to CT Barber Expo just to see the love of the barbers and how the barbers, you know, communicate with each other and the support, because you're absolutely 100% correct in my opinion. I don't think the barbering industry nearly supports each other the way that the cosmetology industry
not as much
as
as we should, man. And the funny thing is, if you look and you pay attention, it's a whole lot of barbers out here that say that they support. It's a lot of barbers out here that say that they represent the culture or they're doing stuff for the culture, but it's where's the proof? Where's the proof? You're saying it, but where's the proof? What are you actually doing? What shows are you promoting? What shows are you? How many people are you reaching out to that have no financial gain or no traction? That they stand to benefit you in no way by helping them? How many people in the culture are you helping do that? I feel like a lot of people piggyback on that. I'm doing it for the culture, just to. You ever heard the saying that
it sound good, huh?
In a room full of smoke and mirrors, you'll never know when they're coming from behind you, bro? It's a lot of smoke and mirrors, man.
Nah, never heard it.
You'll think you on a cloud when they talking to you, but then when the room clear out and somebody lets some air in there, you see it's just all mirrors. It's just nothing. But I ain't gonna get on that. I ain't gonna jump on that harp today because I'm frustrated because my Wi-Fi wasn't working, so I'm on smoke. You feel me? My Wi-Fi wasn't working, so I want smoke. Yeah.
So you ready to go, huh? Yeah, it's yeah. So I've been watching Jay Major's just his build up and how he's promoting his show. And bro, I'm so amped up, you know, just I mean the build up is creating that anticipation. And so I would definitely like to see more of that, but again, I agree with you because even with um, our platform, I think we have a wonderful platform, and you know, am I biased? Yeah, we're on here. I'm biased to a degree, but honestly, if somebody else was doing it and we weren't doing it, you know, there are other barber podcasts that are out there that you know I've seen and listened to a little bit, and I like on that stuff, and you know what I'm saying, and it's just not that inclusive all the time, reciprocity throughout the industry and barber to barber. And what we're doing sometimes it's a little too much competition, and it's enough out here for everybody to eat.
I hear
You know what
you.
I'm saying?
I got different opinions on that. I mean, me and you done had that conversation before. I feel like it don't matter what nobody else doing. They gonna do what they gonna do. They gonna move how they gonna move. My focus isn't. My focus, our focus, isn't looking over to see what the next person got on their plate. You eat what you eat. You feel your belly how you feel your belly. We're going to eat what's on our plate, and we're going to be happy and grateful for that, because what somebody else got going on don't change the trajectory. It don't change the plan at all.
No,
so
absolutely.
Absolutely.
What's
However, I do see that it is a lot of people who, and it was crazy. I talked about this last Monday with somebody in here, Clean Freaks. They got a podcast they doing. It's business podcast though. And we was having a conversation and we was talking about how people, a lot of times, and I think you see it a lot in the barbering industry, people are real quick to mimic what you do. They'll see what you found success in and mimic it, and they'll figure out a way to associate themselves or attach themselves to whatever success they think you're going to get, continuing on with what you're doing. And in addition to, plus, you got the people who are just outright not support you. They'll watch you, because we all know social. You know what social media is? Let me tell you, get up close and tell you what it is. It's a whole bunch of people watching other people, right? So that's what social media is. You got a lot of people who come on there and they'll follow you, watch your content, just so that they can remain creative, right? They'll be created and inspired by your content, but they creations will look a whole lot like yours. What they're creating and what they putting out will look like a mirror of what you do. And hey, I don't even knock them. I don't knock people that do that, because whatever you got to do to be creative in this industry, do what you need to do, right? The thing that you can never mimic from somebody is authenticity. You cannot mimic authenticity. It is or it isn't, right? Your brand is going to be representation of your authenticity, how authentic you are to yourself and what you represent as a person. Your characteristics cannot be mimicked. I don't care what people try to do. They can mimic. They can dress like you, talk like you, cut like you. They can attract the same clientele. Hell, they can cut the same clients, but they can't be you. So I lean on that, bro. I know what the goal is. I know what the path is, and I also know the work that it takes to get there. So I'm sold into that. You know, the rest of it, I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't care, bro, because it is what it is. I wish everybody the best of luck, bro. It's like this. Remember when you used to hoop, right? You could be hooping at AAU, right? AAU, you could be hooping on a team against a team, and a couple of people on that other team may be people you hoop with every day in the neighborhood, right? Y'all might even go to the same school, but y'all just don't hoop for the same AAU team. But for the games start, it's love, bro. It's still love. It's always gonna be love. It's gonna be love.
All love.
Once the whistle blow, you just another body on this court, right? You getting whatever work your buddy getting your everybody got to get work. It is what it is. And then after the game, we could be cool again.
On and popping.
Yeah, no, that don't change the objective. That don't change the goal. The goal is
Right.
forward progress.
No doubt.
Who chooses to stand in the way of that progress, that's their problem to work, not mine.
That's on
You feel?
them. That's on them.
Definitely.
No doubt. No doubt. No doubt. So it was who was it? It was Chris Basile earlier this week, or maybe it was last week.
Oh God. Hey, the white say, sorry, buddy, your jersey different colors than mine. What you said. Hey, hey, that's gonna be the post for the week, bro. Sorry, buddy, your jersey different color than mine. Yeah.
Right.
Mama come strip you up off the sideline, bro.
Right. Say it's go time. But it was a comment, and I just wanted to get your feedback, and anybody else that are willing to pitch in, and as we continue, for those who have joined us, Cut My Way Out podcast. If you haven't already, just go and invite 5 of your followers to join us. And if you don't follow the I Cut My Way Out podcast, please do so. And also, we're thankful for everybody that is joining us now.
I got the camera going.
Oh, you all good. You all good.
I'm trying to.
But, okay. So so they were both the same comment. So Chris Basile put up a reel, and then Marv came behind it, and it was talking about insurance. I believe it was Marv also put a post up about, or maybe no, it was Andy Authentic. It was Andy Authentic, and just talked about the need to, or somebody put, barbers will pay $15 for a certified blue check, but won't spend money on health insurance. And just in your experience in Murfreesboro and barbers that you come in contact with, is that knowledge that they have? Do you think it's a lack of knowledge, being that we're self-employed, or do you think that it's just irresponsible?
That's a great question. I think that's a great question. Before I answer that question, I want to shout out SB Trims. He said it's 2:30 a.m. where he at. He ain't been sleeping 36 hours because he had some clients in between shifts yesterday, and he's still on the I Cut My Way Out podcast tonight. Hey, salute to you, man. I would take my hat up to you, but I ain't had a haircut in a long time, so
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? You just gonna have to envision me taking my hat up. We appreciate you, bro. To answer your question,
we greatly
or
appreciate
to comment on that, I think you got two sides of the coin with that, right? You have guys that's been in barbering long enough in my area, and they've been in barbering long enough where the information is available to them. Because honestly, in 2023, you no longer can use that. You can't have behind that excuse that the information is. You can't have behind that excuse that I didn't know. I don't know how. I don't know what. Nobody can hide behind that, because in 2023, you have information instantly at the press of a button in your pocket, 24/7. And if you don't have that information, especially me and you both know, anybody else that's on this podcast understand right now that if you've been barbering for a good lineage of time, I would say that around that 10-year mark, 11, 12, 20 years, you've built up enough connections where if you don't know, you can ask somebody, and if they don't know, they can ask somebody. Your network of information is as impactful as that phone. So the choice to continue to not know, or to continue to go forward in this and not educate yourself about insurance, that's a choice you're making at that point. So that's one side of the coin. The other side of the coin is the young brothers and sisters coming out of school who I believe most schools, I can't speak for all, but I do believe that most schools at least initiate that conversation of insurance, the importance of insurance. They may not tell you how to source the insurance. They may not give you contacts to get it, but it's definitely something that's discussed because it's part of what you need to learn in order to get your license. Then in addition to that, here's the third dimension or the fourth dimension of the coin, if you will, whatever, right? This is
Okay.
2023, man. Every time you go on social media, is somebody on there preaching what's the best business practice. Is somebody on there preaching what are the three most important things
Right.
to have before you start business. They're preaching about the importance of insurance. You go on YouTube, it's 20, 30, 1 hour timestamp videos telling you on how valuable insurance are in any industry. It's people telling you how you can borrow against your insurance, how you can leverage equity in your insurance to purchase. Listen, bro, if you don't know in 2023, it's choice. It's choice. And if you don't have the information and you hear this podcast, my challenge to you is to stop and evaluate those friendships, those people that you associate yourself with. Because if you in a group of 20 people, and out of 20 people that's barbers, nobody's talking about insurance, maybe you in the wrong group.
All right. So said the right cuts. So just hit 500 hours ain't never heard of.
There you go, my guy. Now go and tell some more people. Don't be selfish with the information. Now, if you got some friends, well, you say 500 hours, so you in school tomorrow or today, whatever time it is in your area. When you go to school, you are the point man to initiate that conversation. Now you the person who's going to facilitate that conversation amongst however many people at school that day. Now let's say it's 20 people in that school that day. That's 20 people that possibly didn't hear about that information. Now you've at least planted the seed of knowledge or desire or want or even awareness into 20 people. Now that's 20 people that can tell 20 more. Listen, bro, this shit's simple, my guy.
Right.
It is, bro.
Right. And the information is out there. You know, one of the biggest things is making sure that, you know, you're responsible with your money, because, you know, health insurance and life insurance are two huge, you know, things just in life in general. And a lot of times those are the differences between people who are willing to jump out and be self-employed, opposed to those who are willing to not do it and just work for someone because it's an easier process. You know, big companies, they have insurance plans, they have life insurance plans that you can pay into, and you know, they even pay into some of it for you. So that's a huge thing. But for as much as we do, as much as we're using our hands, we're on our feet, you know, our backs, you know, the wear and tear, you have to have health insurance and you have to have life insurance, man. That's
definitely. And a lot of
huge,
insurance
man.
agencies now for barbers and stylists, they offer workman comp. So if you can't work because you're sick, you break your hand, you get in a car accident, you can't physically use, these are your tools. These are as important. These are more important than your clippers.
Right.
If you can't use these, you can't work. No matter what clippers you get. The coldest clippers, the most expensive clippers you got in your station can't cut hair by themselves. You need these to do it, right? Life insurance. It's a lot of insurance companies that have policies that you can pick for yourself, and you can customize them based on your needs, your particular professional needs. These are my tools. On my life insurance policy, or on my insurance policy, or my health insurance policy, I have to have workman's comp. If I get sick and I can't use these, if I can't use one of these, I need to be getting compensated for that time that I can't work, because guess what? The power company, the water company, the rent man, car note, insurance, none of them people care that you can't work. They gonna get theirs. You better be figuring out how to get yours.
No doubt. No doubt. All right, because so what should I say or to send them in the right direction? Mr. Sentence.
What should I say to send them in the right direction? Mr. Sentence and insurance for ourselves. Well, before you say anything, research it. Just do enough research to initiate that conversation. I tell you what, a lot of times we're afraid to initiate conversations because we don't have the answers to the potential questions that may come from that conversation. But let me give you some confidence in that. If you do enough research to answer one question, you've at least initiated the thought process for somebody else and jump-started that process for yourself. So do enough information to be able to answer one question. The question you could be answering this could be as simple as, what companies offer insurance to barbers? You can Google that information, right? Another simple question is, what's the annual cost for insurance for 1099 employees? Those are two questions you can ask. Two questions you can ask, answer, and be able to provide to somebody else to initiate that conversation. You don't have to be an expert in it, man. Just have a conversation. As a matter of fact, you'd be surprised how much somebody else might know. Yeah.
Right. And one of the things, right, I would say if you're in school, to get that conversation going, to make it spread, is really bring it up during a time when you can ask the instructor. You know what I mean? And kind of get that conversation going. One of the things that I found out, me personally, was through the marketplace when they started the Obamacare. So you could go and you know, I personally, I have an agent that one of my clients who's self-employed ended up putting me on to. And I worked with this agent. They would look, you know, they would research what I was looking for, what I needed based on what it is that I do, and gave me options. And for me, when I was working in the school district, I ended up being able to get back with the same insurance company that I had when I was working for the local school district, which was cool. You know, of course, it's based on income. So, you know, you got to file your taxes and you want to be legit, you know, but you definitely need those things. We can't jump in this industry and just, you know, treat it like a hustle. Got to make sure long-term that you're able to take care of yourself.
I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that
important.
most barbers make when they jump into this industry. They jump in it, and granted, you know, wherever you are in your life, you may start in this industry, and it may be a hustle for you. It may be a means of making a quick buck, whatever the case may be. Wherever you are in your life, no judgment from me, because shit, I've been a whole lot of places in my life. But one of the gravest mistakes you can make, if you ever tend to take this serious, right? If you ever tend to take this beyond what you thought was possible, because believe it or not, there is a invisible ceiling on barbering. Well, no, there's a ceiling that appears to be there, but it ain't there. So it's not invisible because you can go through it. But if you look up, when you first come into this, you'll think that it's a ceiling, but it's not. And the only way you can find out that there isn't no ceiling where you thought it was is if you take it serious. You can't keep treating it like a hustle. I know a whole lot of barbers that treat this like, you know, this is just quick money when I need a little bread. Right now, this is a great time. Right now, you finna see all the barbers, right? All the barbers in your city that ain't been cutting hair for months. They all finna be cutting hair because the holiday coming up. Barbers that didn't cut half the winter because it was too cold outside, finna be in the shop because it's hot outside and people finna be out. People want to be seen. They got things to do. The parties are finna start ramping up. The club finna start ramping up. People gonna be on their motorcycles and in slingshots. As long as you treat it like that, because barber, don't get me wrong, there's his peaks and his you know, all that. You know, you got peaks in the season, and you got seasons where it slow down. But to go back to what I was saying, because I'm getting all over the place, the biggest mistake I see barbers do is they come in this industry and they treat it like a hustle forever. And that's when you see barbers in their 40s and their 50s and they still don't have nothing. They don't have a house. They still renting their space. They still working in the same shop, holding the walls and holding the paint together barely. You know what I mean? They got cash on hand, but just from what they made that week.
Right.
They don't have no money put away. They're still cutting hair because they can't afford to retire. Insurance, business license, understanding of money, understanding of how to put your money into investments that make you money while you're cutting hair so that you position yourself to be able to retire once you get to the age. And as a barber, you get to pick when you're ready to retire, bro. You don't have to go on what the government say. The government say, what's the new age now? 66? 67 years old?
67.
I'm sorry, bro. I'm not cutting hair when I'm 67 years old. I'm not doing no work. You got to be crazy. The most work I'm going to be doing at 67 is turning on my coffee pot, my boy. That's it. I'm not doing the work. So if you want to be able to plan for your retirement and retire when you're ready to be done working and still have your back, still have your knees, still have your arms and your neck and your eyes, and your ability to hear, man, plan it, prepare yourself for it. But if you cool with hustling, you know what I'm saying? You cool with hustling and slanging haircuts until the government say, you know, it's time for you to retire, or until your body and God tell you that, you know, this thing I gave you, this blessing I gave you in the form of a body, had an expiration on it the whole time. Hey, do your thing. You good. That's not the, that ain't for me. I'm sorry. I'm good.
And you know, when you talk about that, one of the things, and I'm not going to even say misconception, is just really lack of knowledge and maybe searching, like even with the taxes, right? What's going on, Jinx? One of the things with the taxes, you know, when you talk about, you know, continuing to rent, anytime that you do something and you collect cash, when it comes to businesses, they're going to treat you like you sell drugs. No matter how legit you may be, you know, if you come to somebody with cash today, ain't a lot that they can do with you. You can't go to the car lot and drop 50 on a car without being in a situation where the IRS is informed and they come looking.
You can't prove this.
You know, so credit, you know, we know cash is king, but credit runs neck and neck.
I've been watching Snowfall with Erica, right? Man, I wish this was back in the 80s, early 80s. Cash was king. You as a barber, listen, you gonna pay for what you want. But like I said, in 2023, if you go to purchase something for more than $10,000, there's a purchase process. If you try to deposit more than $10,000 cash, there's a waiting period before they will even accept your money. And if you try to take it back out, you got to fill out a whole form to get your bread back.
It's interesting because I got a couple of homies in banking, and they said that they've even dropped it below the 10,000 mark.
Listen, I remember I went to the bank to pull out.
You know what I'm saying?
$6 grand to buy a car. That lady looked at me like I was selling all the white in the world. I say, for $6,000?
Right.
Damn. I'm like, y'all got some low-end drug dealers around here. $6 grand gonna give me this treatment?
Right.
That's terrible, man. I got my daughter with me. You tripping over $6 grand? Oh man, let me so it's just, man, it's all a part of maturity, man. I laugh, I kid, don't get me wrong. I'm on here being animated because my Wi-Fi was down. You know why I'm on here being. Anyway, I laugh, I kid, I'm facetious, man. I like to laugh and joke, but in all seriousness, everything we discussing right now is about maturity. It's maturity, man. It's understanding that if you have a plan, you have a goal, you have an objective, you know, you're only going to be as successful as your plan to be successful. If you don't have a plan to capture success, then you really shouldn't expect to have it. You know what I mean? You can catch lightning in the bottle. Some people do that. But for the majority of us, success comes after a plan. That's just the reality, man.
Right. And even, you know, with that, even with that lightning in the bottle, if you're not doing right by your bread and you're not keeping up with it, then no matter how much money you may be making, you know, you're going to live at the standard that your paperwork shows. And you know, so if you can go out there and you can get a $300,000-$400,000 house because that's the kind of clientele and, you know, you bring in the work you're putting in. But if your paperwork don't match that, then you're in trouble and you're not going to have the opportunity to access those things. You can't go drop it in cash unless you know, an owner and they're willing to take it something under the table or something crazy, you know. But that paperwork, that paper trail got to match up, man. And now what people aren't realizing, even with the electronic payments, that when you hit a certain threshold with those electronic payments, you may not want to turn it into the IRS, but it's automatically going to be reported because they're going to send you 1099.
Automatically kicking you over to a business account, which in terms is good for you though. If you have any desire to own anything, it's not a bad thing, man. It's really not. I think again, it goes back to the hustle mindset. I ain't even finna harp on that again. What I saw up here though was SB.trims. We gotta say the dot though. SB.trims, and we ain't gonna just we're not gonna disrespect his name. SB.trims. What he said up here, he said, you know what, I've been broke as fuck for so long. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Finally make money. Listen, I read that, and inside it made me smile because I'm you, my boy. I swear to God, it was to the point where I was checking it for so long that was the norm. So when I started to make some money where I could find a means of some comfort, it was like, oh man, I don't know what I'm finna do. I could do whatever I want. So I know you just joking, but let me give you some advice because it may not be you that this work was going on. This may not be you that this would be valuable for, but somebody might, right? My advice to anybody that's getting into barbering or any profession in your life, right, where you're going to be making some comfort money, right? You're going to be making money where you could be comfortable however you want to be. You can afford to live how you want, so on and so forth, right? There's no ceiling on what you can make, whatever you want to call it, right? Whatever value is to you. My advice to you is this. Do not lie to yourself and say that because I got it, I can afford it. The worst thing you can do is buy things and purchase things because you're purchasing them on the assumptions of what you're going to make on days that ain't happened yet. What I mean by that is don't buy stuff according to what you made last week on the hopes of what you're going to make next week. That's a terrible decision to make. Another thing I would say, and this is just coming from maturity, I've lived some life. You know, I know I look young and grateful and whatnot and all that, but, you know, I lived a life. So I'm going to tell you this. No matter how much money you make moving forward in your career, try your best to live well below your means. That was some of the most valuable information anybody ever gave me. That was a seed that was planted, and it didn't start to blossom until later on in my life. It recently started to blossom, right? I realized that a simple philosophy like living below your means, right? I think I said beyond, but I meant below. Living below your means. If you are right now working a traditional job and you making $15 an hour, you bringing home 40, 35, 40 grand a year, you're living at a $35,000 to $40,000 a year mean. If you get your barber's license and you just blow up, Vic Blends come to your shop with Chris Baccio, and Vic get his skin fade, Baccio get his beard done, they both post you, and now you super crazy barber. Like you put the celebrity barber tag next to your name, you go and pay your $15.99 for your blue check, whatever. Life just happens at an extraordinary rate for you, and you start making $200,000 a year. You go from making that $35,000 to $40,000 a year to $200,000 a year easy. What I would recommend you do is live at a $60,000 mean. That's what I would do. If I'm making $200,000, I'm living like I'm making 60. Everything else, I'm investing it, reinvesting that money so that money can make money for me. Because what I'm doing is setting myself up so that eventually that money is going to make me so much money because I live below my means. I reinvested my overhead, and now that money has made me and afforded me the ability to do what I'm doing right now. Sit my black ass down and talk to y'all.
If somebody put you should have
what you willing to spend
to match.
Me and Unc was talking, and I remember, it may have been Unc that told me this. If you go to purchase something, anything, if you can't buy it 2 to 3 times, you can't afford it. It's that simple. You can't afford it. You want to go buy a car? Well, can you buy 3 of them? No, you can't afford it. Can't afford it.
I would think that would be most people, though. Most people
But
probably
that's how
can't
you keep
afford it.
your money.
You know what I'm saying?
That's how you keep your money. A lot of us, we go and we feel like because the money is available in my bank account, I can afford it. But that's thinking, what dude say, you're thinking too small. You're thinking small. You need to be thinking big. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, bro, if I can't afford it at least twice, I can't afford it. Cannot afford it. I saved to get my camera, I saved for a year. A year. Afford to pay for it over and over and over and over again.
He said the first meal is the hardest.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that in any industry except for the one that we in. That first millet ball ain't gonna be that hard. I refuse. What Bubba Dub be doing? I refuse to believe.
So you gonna get it. So some like what are some of your investments and things that you invest in to build your money? Not being too transparent, but being that you're just speaking on the financial side of things. What
First thing I can tell you about Unc is he owns the biggest barbershop in Tennessee. Notice I didn't say he rent. He didn't lease. Okay. He don't lease. Okay. He owns his bricks. One of the big. I say Tennessee is the biggest barbershop I've ever seen in my fucking life. Excuse my language. Okay, it's definitely the biggest barbershop I've ever seen in my life, and hands down, hands down. He got a whole. I put it to you like this: he can operate a barbershop, a school, a gym, and throw a networking event outside and still have enough parking to be open. Yeah, and he owned it.
He said it's commercial real estate, smart investment.
That's one person out of a very, very, very short list of people that I associate with that if he said, yeah, you can stand on that. Yeah, you can not legit, you can stand on that. You can stand on it. It's the truth because he's not telling you nothing that he hadn't been through. And it's crazy because every time I talk to him, I forget how much older than me he is. Because he can associate things, you know, clearly to the point where I just assume we the same age, and we not. He didn't live some life, and the thing about it is, Unc didn't live some life. You hear me? From the mud to where he is, and yeah, man, he one of them guys that, you know what, we need to bring him on one of these episodes and let him tell his own story because he got a very story. Very interesting.
No doubt. I would be very
investing in good equipment can be a point to potential clients see you have high quality stuff, can portray the fact that you care about what you are doing and those things. At a point, once you get out of barber school, yeah. But while you're in barber school, I would encourage you to not throw too much of your money into buying the latest, greatest, and all that as far as equipment because you're still rounding out your foundation. Round out your foundation with the equipment that they provide you at the school. Get efficient with that equipment that's not the most favorable to use. Because if you get real good or you get good with them taper 2000s that we had, once you get a pair of cordless singers in your hands or something that has some versatility to it, you'll be able to, and most importantly, you'll be able to identify the differences from what you were using to what you have and the advantages of having something better. Versus if you go out now without a solid foundation, a rounded out foundation, and throw hundreds of dollars into clippers, you're not even gonna know the benefits of having them because you haven't created enough, you ain't had enough reps to know what a good blade is, what a good steel blade is, what's a good swing arm. Do I need to extend this? Is this sharp enough? You know what I mean? I wouldn't waste my money getting the latest and greatest while I'm in school. I will wait until at least a year and a half into the game. Well, at least a year before I started and yeah, when got all that other stuff. Get good with what you got. It's just like if you start racing cars, you don't have the finances to back yourself when you first start racing cars. You're gonna get a car that somebody gonna give you, and that joker gonna be pieced together and held together with duct tape and zip ties. But if you get good in racing that raggedy piece of shit, when somebody promotes you and give you a good car, you know what turbo, you know what a good set of tires make a difference in. You know what a good steering wheel make the difference in. So, yeah, my little philosophy on that.
Right. Unc said that he started with penny stocks and it turned it into buildings.
That's somebody who understands the value of money, though.
Like to hear. Yeah, I would definitely like to hear that story, because all too many times we hear so much about, and also with social media. So right now, cut it with so we're talking about finances in the barber industry. One of the things, man, that social media does, and we've talked about it time and time again, it makes everything look so easy, and it makes everybody seem like they're on cloud nine, like they own everything, like they got big bags of money, and you know.
That's DJ, bro. You know he do barber finance too. That's his thing. That's what he do. Him and his partners got one of the most. They're out in Dallas. Got one of the biggest barbershops, and I think they got over 20-something chairs in their barbershop full. And that's his thing, bro. He talk finance.
Right.
Yeah, that's his thing.
He just said, okay, my homeboy just jumped on here too. He's in banking, one of my childhood homeboys. He's not a barber, but he's in banking, and he just jumped on. What's up, Derek? Chip in, man, if you got time while we're talking. Somebody that might have been DJ said we're going through the crack era. The barber is going through the crack era.
And more ways than one, my boy. More ways than one. Yeah, it is. Absolutely.
You know, they make it look so easy, and so you got new barbers coming in, and like you said, spending money on certain things. Make it look so easy, and everybody looks like that up. But I would be willing to bet probably 70%, maybe more, aren't in the financial space.
How you find that out? Hold on, I'm gonna tell you. Go ahead.
How's that? You know, they're not getting that type of bread, and they're not learning financial literacy, and so, like I'm talking about that's where I'm at, trying to figure, and you know, I got a couple people in my corner, like my boy who jumped on, you know, who's helped me along the way with financial literacy, just learning, because that's what it's about, you know, owning them bricks. You know what I mean? And I ain't talking about the brick. I ain't talking about the bricks you put on the stove and whip up and
DJ stole
that
my
wrist work.
thunder, bro.
I ain't talking
DJ stole my thunder. He had a light skin moment, bro. He stole my thunder, bro. Stole my thunder, bro. But he absolutely. That's how you find out who get into some paper and who ain't. Ask for them tax returns.
Yeah.
Let me see your taxes. What did you write? Yeah.
Right.
What investment you made this year? What is your portfolio? What does your financial portfolio look like? Don't tell me about how much money you got in your pocket. I don't care how much you charge a cut. What does your financial portfolio look like this year? What are your states and investments? Right.
But unfortunately, it's barbers that probably do extremely well, but because they're not privy to certain information, or they want to hide, because you know, if you're doing pretty well, you gotta, it's some taxes that you gotta pay.
We discussed that earlier. You know, can't hide behind it no more. It's 2023. You cannot listen. And this is me being hard on everybody else, so that I'm hard on myself. Understand that. Me being hard on everybody else is so that I continue to be hard on myself. This is 2023. The excuse of I don't know, I didn't know, I didn't know who to ask, those excuses, bro. nobody told me, my family didn't come from, then nobody explained to me, all that's excuses. Because you walk around with a smartphone. And it's not a dumb phone.
But everybody, I feel you, but everybody doesn't have the ability to comprehend.
You can learn how to learn.
And I agree, but I think sometimes, you know, we assume it public education ain't.
I went to school on the south side of Chicago, bro. Education system failed us terribly.
But I'm just saying. So there's some cats out there, you know, and so when we talk about being in a good circle of people, because like you got DJ on here, you got you got Unc on here, who are talking about something. My boy just talked about pride. You know, you got some guys on here who can talk that money talk, right? And for me, that's when my life started to change, when I got around guys who was touching money on that route. And
before you got around those guys that was having those conversations, and you was in your circle of people, or your circle, whatever the case, that were having those conversations. Once those conversations started to present themselves to you, did you not have a desire to learn more?
Absolutely. I'm a sponge. But the interesting part is, I think that's why we click, right? You know what I'm saying? Everybody, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes if a person is not the smartest person in the room, they're uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Everybody don't want to learn. Like my man said, pride sometimes step in the way. So my man right there, he's been in banking for well over 20 years. He's a year younger than me. So when we were coming up, I was the ball player and the popular. That's his lane. I had to learn, and still learning certain things from him, and can't let my pride, you know what I'm saying, get in the way. But sometimes
I think also,
you know what I mean?
I think a lot of it is pride, right? But I also think a lot of it is just laziness, just pure laziness. If you don't go as far as to like the inner emotion, right? Because I think pride dives deep down into the inner emotion baggage, and you need a couch, talk to a therapist, right? If you go down to the very surface level, the first deterrent for people to not educate themselves about finances or anything in life is the same emotion when you hand somebody a book. You can hand some, especially us. I hate to say it that way, but especially us. It is what it is. We honest on this podcast. We for the culture. We can't lie on the culture. It is what it is, right? You have one of us a book, and if it's not somebody that has a desire to read books, I would say 75% of the people put a book in their hand about education. 75, if not more, percent will never read past the cover. They won't read past the cover, and to me, that can be attributed 90% to laziness, 10% to literacy issues, but 100% to desire, because and pride. Because if you have literacy issues and you lazy, you can pull up your phone, or you can go and ask somebody. You can align yourself with somebody who has the information, or who can help you get the information. Again, 2023, we are not accepting no more excuses, bro. If you a barber in 2023 and you're not willing to educate yourself on finances, and you call yourself a business owner, I'm calling you out, and I don't give a damn how you feel about it.
So I got a question. My man said also, instead of learning to pay the CPA for the strategy,
they want to duck the tax man instead of learning to pay the CPA for the hell yes. Yeah, and some people pay the CPA and don't even want to learn from them. They just rather pay a laziness. Again, they rather pay them and have somebody else take care of it instead of paying somebody to educate you on how to take care of it yourself, so that you can be your long-term solution. Come on, man, we do this all night.
Right, no doubt. So I got a question for us barbers, and just, you know, people in general. Do you think trade shows and so forth, do you think what's going on, Cutflow Dre? What it do, bro? Do you think that there should be more finance classes in regards to barber shows?
I can't say
just,
that it's not,
just hair
because
shows, period?
DJ go to hair shows and he teach finances. You got Dante Financial go to hair shows, he teach finances. You got Morano, he teach finances in some of his classes in addition to his teaching, his cutting and barbering and techniques. I would say this.
Right. But I'm just saying, do you think there should be more? Because with classes, you pointed out some, but do you think that for the number of barbers that we have attending some of these things, do you think they're just overall?
I feel like every show that you go to, there's at least 1 to 2 finance classes. The ones that I named are just the people that I'm familiar with, right? I don't go to all the shows though, but I do know every show that I've ever been to, there's been a finance class in them shows. The problem is every show I've been to had those finance classes, people don't go to them. So the question is, I can overwhelm you with finance classes, right? I could pay DJ $5 grand to come out here and teach a 5-hour finance class. He probably say that's undercutting him, but DJ, you know what I'm talking about, my boy. But anyway, we can fly DJ out, pay him to teach a 5-hour course about finances at a show that has barber booths and all this other thing, all these other spectacular things. Problem is, it don't matter if the information is on the table for you to eat if you don't pick it up and eat it. The problem is you can't force people into them classes, and a lot of barbers don't see the value in finance classes because of pride, laziness, literacy issues, lack of learning ability. People just don't want to step outside of comfort. They're complacent in what they're doing. Some people feel like, I don't need a finance class because I made $2,000 this week. And those are the people that's going to hit a ceiling real fast.
Cut flow, Dre. Dre said he wants to answer that.
Take the flow, bro. Yeah. Take the flow. If you in the shop, we cussing you out, bro. You work too hard, man.
Right.
Yeah, most definitely.
He said, "Can I get on?" Absolutely. I'm Gary sending the invite right quick. So it's
Hey, what up,
I
guys?
just sent your.
I'm not at
What's
the shop.
good, bro?
Hey.
I just got home from it though.
What's up? What's up, Barbara? Congratulations, man, to them Hurricanes doing their thing. Them Hurricanes. I was talking to James Barber out of Miami. Yeah, he cut some.
It's been
University of Miami
a good year
Hurricane
for y'all,
athletes
man.
here
It's been a good
in
year
Miami.
for them.
Yeah. He was posted up with the trophy. I seen it.
He still never told us if he gonna get that car back. But go ahead, Dre. We want to hear your information, man. What was you gonna say on the financial side?
So when you were talking about the how the expos or if they should have more people talking finances, I don't know if you remember remember that one time that Bazio got on with us and
see, I was out of town, so I remember.
So
I got on
what he had said is that he started off. Remember, he was like he started off teaching people how to cut and stuff like that, because that's what was needed at that time. And he said now you're at a time where there's so many people to teach how to cut. You know what I'm saying? And so it's not needed in terms of like what he thinking that he needs to keep making.
Right.
And then he said that so what him making these talking about finances and stuff like that it doesn't do as well. Like you were saying, it doesn't do as well in terms of that's not what people gravitate to, because that's not the fun stuff. You know what I mean? People get it, and I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. Like I'm just me being in this business since 2011. I'm just barely getting my feet wet in terms of my finances, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like this is something that I could literally say that I'm number one. And I look back and I'm like, man, I could have done so many things differently, you know what I'm saying? And I've still got a lot of things that I still tend to go back to that whole, I'm gonna make that back tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? And then lucky for me though, me and my brother are 50-50 owners of the shop, and he's the finance guy in my shop, bro. He's religiously, like, he listens to Dave Ramsey and stuff like that. He got everything down to percentages and envelopes, and he don't spend
What's going
not
on,
$1
Mark?
until it's split up into his thing.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And I mean, he's literally come to my house with his books and sat me and my wife down and had a whole hour discussion, and where we had to be like 100% truthful with him when he asks us what our finances is looking like. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not gonna lie, like, that was the first time in my life. Thank God it was my brother, right? But it's my first time in my life that I had to just come clean with everything, you know? And it's funny because, like, while we was there, my wife had a purse that I had got from this place one of my boys owns, where he sells like high priced, like, I'm like real Gucci stuff, real Burberry, and I got her a Burberry purse and wallet, and I got it in payments. You know what I'm saying? And it was just right there, and we were talking about all this stuff. What's the first things that we could pay off completely, right? And then I was like, then we started going down the list, and then when I said, all right, that purse, because we were writing out the stuff that I still had to make payments on. I'm still making, like, our debt. And bro, when I said that, he just started laughing, because I already knew how he's gonna react, because he's so against making anything in payments. Like, his whole thing is, if you can't afford it, then don't buy it. You know what I'm saying? If you can't afford it at the moment, don't buy it. So that week, we paid off that purse, and we paid off my washer and my dryer. You know what I'm saying? Two things that we were paying monthly for, that we had the money to just pay off, but we were paying monthly for, so we could use that money for just living. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So, like, he made me realize how I was looking at things the wrong way. You know what I mean? So that's what I started doing. And then I'm not gonna lie, like, that was like a couple of years ago. So little by little, you know, life starts. You know, I got 5 kids, so I'm just spending. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I definitely agree with y'all, man. When it comes to finances, this is something that we definitely have, that the industry needs. However, I will say this: we do need somebody to come teaching it differently, bro. Because a lot of times, the way they're teaching it, it's falling on deaf ears, because
I agree.
it's not, you know what I'm saying, the way it's being said, and a lot of times it's being said by people who are just great at it by the time they get to that point where they are teaching it. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of hard for their words and the way they describe things to be interesting or to make sense to people that like me, that was like me, was just not trying to hear it, because it's just like boring to me. You know what I'm saying? So I think
Overwhelming, man.
yes, it's
sometimes
overwhelming.
people try to teach you finances. A lot of times, the people that's trying to teach you finances, and I hate to sum anybody up or put anybody in a box, but this is just my observation. A lot of time, when I was at that point, I was trying to absorb as much as I could of financial advice from people. The people who were offering the advice didn't dress like me, didn't talk like me, didn't walk like me, and despite where they came from, where they were in their life was so much different than where I was in my life. So we might as well have been talking 2 different languages,
bro.
And it's not.
That's what they just said in the comments right now, like a second language.
Oh, yeah, exactly. It's like you're trying to listen, but you ever heard somebody talk so much that you don't understand that no matter how much you listening, your mind isn't comprehending anything. It's just
and you try to just wait for just one word that you could just listen to it and just act like you've been paying attention.
Absolutely.
Because I got you.
And I agree with you, man. I think, you know what? That's a great solution to Asha's original question. How can we? Is there enough financial literacy being taught at the barber expos and shows? And if not, how can we create that narrative where it can be a value to the show and people will want to be a part of it and get in tune with it? I think that's one solution.
Right.
It has to be presented in a way that's identifiable to the people that you're trying to teach it to.
Yeah, like levels, right? Start
Absolutely.
real basic. Somebody gotta start teaching this stuff at a basic kindergarten level. Not kindergarten, but you know what I mean? Like, so just for example, envelopes, right?
Mhm.
Envelopes. Find out how much your bills are every month. This is what my brother taught me, right? Find out how much your bills are every month, and then find out how much you make every month, right?
Mhm.
So at the very least, we should be knowing how much we make every month, right? So then what you do is you divide what your bills are to find out what percentage of what you make is your bills, right? So if what you make is let's say your bills is 50% of what you make, right? So now you know that every single dollar that you make, 50% of that dollar, whether it's a dollar or whether you made $500 today, 50% of that you put away for your bills.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the way that he taught me. And then the other 50%, he broke it down into whatever you want it to be. One for investment, one for whatever you need. You know what I'm saying? So that's it. All comes down to. And I'm not gonna sit here saying this, acting like I got this all down because I don't. Obviously, I'm still.
But that's the point.
I'm still.
Point of the conversation.
Yeah.
That's the point of the conversation is to initiate that exchange of information, right?
Correct.
That exchange of information. What you just said, somebody on here didn't know. You know, somebody on here had never heard that. What we're discussing, somebody may be walking around thinking it, but they don't have a group of friends or a group of people where they can have that discussion. They just walking around retaining this information and this thought, this idea, this not understanding or whatever it is. Ain't nobody stimulating that conversation. So the fact that the conversation is being stimulated is that's the purpose, right?
Yeah.
That's the whole. I hope DJ's still on here because I listened to one of his. I was finna say I listened to one of his classes in Texas, man. DJ is. I don't think that he's getting enough light on him to be put in front of more people to be able to teach finances and how to order a business and how to structure a business in the barbering industry, because his way of teaching was immediately understandable. It was immediately identifiable. He didn't overcomplicate anything. He associated everything he was teaching with stories, things that you could relate to. He made it make sense in a sense, like somebody said earlier, they playing barbering like the crack game. Well, somebody said that you may not ever experience the crack game, but you've heard enough stories about it that you can associate with what they're saying. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, I feel like part of the responsibility to get them people in the positions to teach them classes so that it can be an added value is us as barbers have to encourage other barbers to continue to support those people who are in the position that's already creating those platforms. As long as no one knows about them, there's no visibility on them, there's no light on them, it's you're just catching it when you're catching it. If you don't, you don't. And that's part of the problem. We need to support more. It goes back to like what we were saying about piranhas. If more of us were sharing the shows and sharing that, hey, this show is going on here, this show is going on there. If we use the network of barbering that we have, because think about it, bro. How many barbers is it in the world, really? It's an enormous network. Enormous.
And it's getting bigger. It's getting bigger by the month, too.
About a month.
Right. And one of the things, Dre, that I like is that you were transparent, right? Because a lot of people look at your content, look up to you and your influencer, and for you to say, hey, I'm in the process, I'm learning. And I think a lot of people get on here and they stunt, they front and have pride. And I think when we come together and we have these conversations, right, and just dialogue, we can learn from each other and we can build from each other. And I think that's one of the important parts about this platform.
That's exactly why I tell people, like, I was at this expo this past weekend and I was the host, and a lot of people recognize me and this and that off the what's the name?
No, you gotta say that with some. You was the host.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Anybody who was there knows that I was the host. I was every single video that I saw from that thing. It wasn't a lot of them didn't have me in it, but you dang sure could hear me in the background. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? But the
Right.
reason I bring that up is because I even said it on the microphone, bro. Like I'm in struggle mode myself, still to this day. Don't let this social media fool you about anybody, bro. Like you never know what their grind is every day. Even
Right.
me getting an opportunity to shoot some content is a struggle. You know what I'm saying? Because of what I got, everything going on. You know what I mean? So, and I said it on the
Right.
microphone. I said the only thing that makes me different from the next barber is I take making these videos serious. Because look how many doors is open for me. Look what I'm in front of y'all on this microphone because I take making these videos serious. And I make if I got an idea, I'm taking like as many takes as possible. And then when I get home, I'm picking the best one, the one that make me laugh the most, whatever it is. And I take it serious. I take it editing serious. I watch. I got Marv's. I started with Marv's course, and I watch a lot of Instagram channels and stuff like that that talk about how to make your content pop, how to put a hook in your content in the beginning of your content, all that stuff. And that's the difference. You know what I'm saying? In terms of what I got going on in my house, like or my job, I mean at the shop and all this, it's man, I got 5 kids too. You know what I'm saying? And I gotta have that balance with my wife as well. Like I always gotta make time for her. We gotta make time for us. All that is a struggle that I juggle every day. And all people see is the funny videos. You know what I'm saying? So and I understand that, bro. But I also want everybody to realize that I ain't done nothing yet, bro. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I don't get all excited about saying stuff like, "Oh, I was the host" and stuff like that, or just whatever it is, because I want everybody to understand that I'm still down, like I'm still in the mud, I'm still grinding out the mud right now, right as we speak.
And it's not coming from the perspective of I don't think it comes across not humble coming from you, and I say that because me and you've never met in person, right? We've only ever met online and talking. And I feel like your energy, as far as who you are, comes across authentic. It doesn't come across forged, fake, or forced. It comes across who you are is who you are, and that's who I have confidence that when I do meet you, you're going to be the same person, right? When I say that, and I think a lot of us when we hold you up like we do, it's because it's hard to find, it's rare to find people who make it to that level, who get those opportunities, who have that work ethic that you have, and they're presented the opportunities off the sweat of that work ethic. It's rare that those people are genuinely good people too. So when we see one, I don't give a damn what you just said. I'm still gonna talk that shit for you, whether you want to talk it or not. I'm talking it for you because when you win, like I told you, when you win, I win, he win, everybody in the industry wins. So now I hear you, I understand where you're coming from, but tell them Shy said, fuck that. My man was posting that thing and he did it off the efforts of what he do every single day, bro. Like D-Nice said, bro, we watch, bro. We watch and we pay attention, and you consistent. And I think it also speaks to the guys who understand that there is a balancing act with this shit. It's not easy. And the more you find success, it gets harder because the more you find success on your efforts with your career, the more it wants to dictate your time and pull you further away from your family. Yeah. So you still trying to figure out how to maintain and not sacrifice time away from your family to accommodate the need and demand of your career. So to be able to do that, you deserve to be celebrated. And I don't give a damn what nobody say.
You're like, not even what you say.
Not even what you say, guys. Nobody.
No, I appreciate
it. And then, like you said, to be as giving, like you didn't know us nothing. You know what I mean? And we're so appreciative. You know, we had, you know, a guy jump on here today, said,
Shout out, yeah, you was the
Cutflow
first
Dre
thing somebody
told
got
us
on
about,
here and said, shout out Dre.
you know, and so it just shows who you are. And I think good things, God blesses those who do good. And you know, like you said, you know, I'm confident when I meet you in person, you're the same dude, because you've done stuff for us that you didn't have to do at all. And you know, we've reached out to a lot of different barbers, and it's so interesting, and I guess not necessarily surprising how, you know, social media has took this thing to a point where some barbers, even though we can only be who we are off the backs of clients, right? Some of us get beside ourselves. No matter, you know, when they start seeing some success, they give you the Heisman straight on, won't mess with you, and man, you've went above and beyond, man, and it's a blessing, and we're just appreciative and
everybody,
grateful,
man.
like real talk.
Are you familiar with the term paying it forward?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard the term before?
Yes.
I think everything that's coming to you, all the opportunities that you're being presented with, the success that you're finding, having people in your corner the way they are, that's result of you paying it forward. You seem like the type of person that's been paying it forward for a long time, bro. That's result of that. That's where that comes from. And I'm a firm believer. I ain't gonna get religious on you real quick. You understand? Because I got my red and I got my cross in. Don't think that Jesus freak. But my mom used to always tell me that all of us were placed here to serve. That's our positions as human beings, is to serve one another. The more you lean into what God meant for your life to be purposed in as far as serving people, the more God's going to open doors and create opportunity, create space for you. And he's going to continue to sow into whatever your gift is that he put in you so that your gift will continue to make room for you. Some people can be the most gifted people in the world, but because they don't approach that gift with the intentions to serve people, that gift never gets them anywhere. You see some of the most talented people in the world in the same place they were when you left them 20, 30, 40 years ago, because they haven't used that gift and approached it in the sense of serving people. I feel like, and it's just a serious ass moment for a second, I feel like me watching you serve so many people, like you said, before you got on the podcast today, the first thing somebody did was came on here and was like, hey, what's up, fellas? By the way, shout out Cutflow Dre. He done helped me out with so much stuff, man. He makes himself available to me. And without knowing the story, because of my experience with you, I don't question nothing. I know it's real.
Appreciate it, man.
Bro, that's gonna
and just the way you break stuff down like this is like that's why we need I cut my way out podcast to have a bigger following already, man.
It's
I'm telling
man. You know what I'm saying? We understood the work ethic that was gonna go into it. We understood that the journey was gonna be long. It was gonna be some debt. We was gonna have to bundle that thing up and go through the code, but it is what it is, man. But
you do understand, see, like this is what another thing, like y'all seeing for yourself how hard it is to get those followers. So when you get those followers little by little, like the way we doing it, I did it the same way, grinding. And that's why you see how hard, like you done had some of the biggest heavy hitters on this thing, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
What's the name? You showed me one time that in one episode, y'all had, or in one live, y'all had over 5,000 people check in. You know what I'm saying? So in a lot of people's mind, they're like, oh, you had 5,000? Oh, that should be at least 1,500 followers right there, you know, but it doesn't work like that, you know? You gotta be you gotta be consistent. So it's like, that's why it's so easy for me to figure out who has fake followers or not, bro.
Absolutely.
And to me, like, it's so much work that you have to do to get a following that it's just like, I feel bad for the people that have fake followers, because first of all, people who really get the followers the right way, they could tell real quick who has fake followers like this. And on top of that, you're robbing yourself of the journey, bro. You're robbing yourself of the things to learn, because there's so much to learn. So when you actually get there, you're like, I know how to double this up. You know what I'm saying?
And
So,
arguably, the journey is the most valuable part of it all, man. Because when you think like this, right?
Yeah.
Once you make it to the goal, whatever the goal is, and you've achieved the things that you're gonna achieve in your life, and it's time to hang the clippers up, take the gloves off, take the apron off, put the mic down, and sit down and just be a grandfather. Because your children gonna have children by this time, right?
yeah.
It's just time to be Granddaddy Dre. Granddaddy Dre, what you gonna have as memories and the things that's gonna mean the most to you, the things that's gonna be the most valuable to Granddaddy Dre and Granddaddy Osh and Uncle Shaq, because I'm gonna be uncle for the rest of my life. I don't give a y'all talking, but the things that's gonna be the most valuable, the things that you're gonna pass down, it won't be the accomplishments, right? Because the accomplishments don't mean anything without recognizing the journey that it took to get to it. Those are the things that I'm gonna be thinking about the most. I'm not gonna be thinking about when it's you done won a Barbara Grammy. You're gonna be thinking about, man, I remember when I first signed up for school, how scared I was that first day.
Yeah.
I remember I sweated out a whole outfit the first time I did a ball fade. Those are the things that's gonna be the most valuable to you in your memory. So I think that I urge anybody on here and anybody on here share this message. Encourage people to slow down. It's okay to have a goal. It's okay to want to get there, but take time.
Bird, man.
Stop, sit down, and appreciate where you at in your journey. Because it's just like prom for a lot of us.
Man.
You only gonna do it once. You only gonna have this memory and this moment one time. Everything else is just whatever else after that. But the original only happens one time.
Right. And that's why the saying, trust the process, enjoy the process means so much, man. And I think sometimes because it sounds cliche, it just kind of goes over people's heads. But that's real talk. And it's funny that you say that, Dre, because over time, as I become more familiar with the platforms, you can kind of see who like you said, who cheating the game.
Hey, Barbara,
plug,
while you on here, please go check your inbox. I got an auto response from your checkbox, sir. I want to talk to you, sir. I want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to your robot that you got on your inbox thing. Please go check your inbox, sir. And it's not about Clippers. I swear to God, I'm not hounding you about Clippers.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to show you some appreciation, man. We appreciate you.
Yeah, we
definitely.
I'm loving the content, man. The acting skills is off the chain.
It's crazy.
Hey, Birdman says patience is key. The present is the gift. That's why it's called the present.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
absolutely.
He's 17 years in, man.
17 years.
Yep.
Let me ask you, Birdman, 17 years in, are you more excited to tell about your accomplishments or your journey to get to the accomplishments? I would love to know. I would love to hear from you.
He's too humble, man. He ain't gonna talk about the accomplishments.
He's a you. He's a Dre.
He's a Dre. I learn from people like him for sure.
Definitely. Man, is Tank still in here? Tank be chopping. You still in here, man? I gotta let you know, bro. I wouldn't got this camera. I'm mad at you for how much I had to pay for this camera, Tank. I'm mad at you, bro. Huh?
What you go get, Sean?
One of these Sony, Mercedes, Bentley, Jaguar, Ford Focus, man. I'm mad at you, Tank. You still in? I'm mad at you, bro. I'm mad at you, bro. But I knew I had to do what I had to do. So I appreciate it at the same time.
Hey, Tank. You said, am I going to CT? Yeah, I'm actually going, man. I'm actually roommate. I got a roommate. We going half on the rooms and stuff. My roommate is Barbara June, man. He gonna be my roommate.
Say, that's what's up, my
you
boy.
You know Barbara June, right? Y'all know Barbara June?
Yeah, definitely.
We gotta get him on here, man. He a funny dude. Me and him about to collab on a video, maybe like in 2 days. We just gotta edit it.
Hey, I see y'all talking about that, and I don't know if it was the last podcast or the podcast before the last, but I seen it come up in the comments.
What it say?
He was asking when y'all gonna get together and do a collab. It was him and it was another barber. What's that young man's name? Man, I can't remember his name, bro. I can't remember.
Where's he from?
I want to say he's from New York.
Oh,
Then I'll
So
be
Birdman is
hosting
gonna be
CT
hosting it.
Barber
That's what's
Expo.
up.
Oh, that's
Hey
what's
Bird,
up.
hey Bird, you gonna be at TX Barber Expo?
Everybody needs to be
He
there.
said every
Oh,
used to
he
be
dropped off. We'll get him back on. Hey, send him
right.
an invite so you can get back on. Tank on content and J Majors.
Okay.
Oh, that's what's up, bro. I figured you was gonna be that shooting. Listen, I'm not gonna crowd you, but I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna be asking you questions, bro. I'm bringing my equipment. Be asking a couple questions, man. I'm gonna wait though. I'm gonna wait till you sitting down and you
Right.
look thirsty, and I'm gonna pull up with that drink like, here, my boy. You need some water or some juice or something? Let me ask you about this little switch on this camera. What this little switch right here do?
Yeah, man. I'm at stuff. I got too excited. I
Well,
swiped on the screen by accident. Man.
Yeah, hey, it seemed like since this last maybe month since we've been doing the podcast, everybody we had on going to CT.
everybody.
I haven't.
That's
We haven't had
I'm
one person
geeked.
on that's said no, I'm not going.
You-
It's gonna be fine. Listen,
Y'all going? Y'all
Super
going?
geek.
yes, absolutely, bro.
It's gonna be lit.
Absolutely.
It's gonna be
Absolutely,
lit.
man.
Gonna be lit.
Absolutely. And this is my first time going to
Absolutely.
CT, so
Same here. I never been.
I'm
Yeah.
bringing all the energy, Dre. I'm telling you, bro.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I'm bringing all the energy to CT. If you don't know me, you will know me if you go to CT. They're gonna be like, I don't know who that dude is, bro, but that dude is I don't know how that old man got that much energy. Trust me, I tell you, it's gonna be a movie.
Yeah,
Let me
I'm
ask y'all,
geeked.
what are y'all the most?
It
And this
is
is for the people in the comments too. Going.
Hold on, he froze up on us. Froze up on us.
Hey,
He was about to
started
go
out,
in.
boy. He was
I don't think Instagram was ready for him.
he was going through it.
Yo, he was about to go in. Tank said
He couldn't get on.
Jay hit me up and asked if I would like to help. I said, of course. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. Tank had told me that. Tank told me that the J Majors hit him up and wanted him to be a part of the whole CT, bro. That in terms of well, I don't know. I don't want to sit here and lie, but I mean not lie, but give the wrong information. But I think it was what I don't even know, man. Let Tank say it before I mess it up.
Tank,
Yeah,
let us know what's good.
He told Tank that he gonna let him he gonna let him run the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna get the wrong information, something like that.
That's what's up. Yeah, I'm super, man. I'm super.
I never
excited.
been there.
So
bro.
you never been either.
I've been for the last couple years. I've been trying. You know what I'm saying? But it's just never. You know, it's just I never pulled the trigger on it. You know what I'm saying? The right cuts. The right cuts. He said you did an amazing job hosting. Keeps the I think he meant to say the crowd engaged all that was there. Yeah, that's the right cuts. He's actually my client. He started off being my client. He's from San Antonio, and then I took him to the barber school I went to so he could check it out, and he ended up enrolling that day, and then and now he's halfway done with his hours, and he's been going to all the events and stuff with me. So yeah, he nosediving deep into this in this barber game, and he loves it, man. But it's cool, man, because I feel like I could feel the appreciation from him by you know, he tells me all the time, man, you're the greatest mentor and this and that, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's cool, man, because he gets to jump into this industry like with me, like right there helping him and then coming to these events with me and stuff like that. So I could definitely see like I didn't have that, you know what I'm saying? When I was in the industry, I was excited, but I could see why he's like overly excited because he gets to see, you know, the game for what it is, like the industry for the fun stuff about it, and you know what I'm saying, the booth setups and all that. He gets to see all that. So I'm super excited about it. But you know, it all comes down to them fades. You gotta, like I always tell him, like I don't mean to ever bust anybody's bubble, but them fades, you got. That's where it starts. And he's doing
Absolutely.
a good job of that too, man. So
Absolutely.
I'm excited.
Hey, Hank said he'll be charged reels and stuff they post. He said I'll be one of the interviewers. That's what's up, bro.
What'd he say? Oh, I'm be helping. Oh.
He said he'll be the interviewers for the reels and
Oh man, see that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, Tank. I'm telling you, bro. Like people starting to starting to see what's up with him, bro.
Yeah.
Bro, they sending him clippers. I remember when I first started talking to him, he was like, you know, Tank, right? He gets his words out fast, you know what I'm saying? So he's like, yeah, I love this. I love doing this. I love doing this. But you know, it gets expensive, you know what I'm saying? Because I gotta keep on buying these clippers. So I think he's gotten to the point. I'm not sure. I'm just thinking, saying what I think. But I think he ain't even paying for his clippers no more.
Right.
Any of them. I don't know any of them. Because he be getting new ones.
Must be nice. Yeah, he definitely doing his thing, man. Y'all doing doing major with the content, man. That's what's up.
I'm gonna make you.
Hey there.
You gonna make what? Oh, you gonna draw him? Mm-hmm. She's gonna draw you. You gonna draw him?
Okay.
Yeah, but
okay. She loves to draw, bro. Yes.
A great one.
Really? My pops is an artist in my shop. I have all my dad's art in my shop. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with Shaq's stuff, man. Every time I send an invite, it come back declined. He was struggling with his
his Wi-Fi.
With his Wi-Fi. Yeah. He couldn't get on for about the first 15 minutes.
Let me see here.
Yeah. Yeah. He said, "Oh, his phone died." Yep, I'm plugged up with a short charger. He said he plugged in with the short charger.
Hey, Tank, you want to bring Tank on, man? See, we asked him a couple. Hey, Tank, get up on this with us.
Absolutely. If I'm going to shoot it at him right now.
Oh, you draw? Oh, she's drawing. She really drawing you, dude. She already got the glasses and the smile. She got the glasses.
I'm over here eating.
Yeah.
I just got back from the gym.
Yeah. What's good?
Chilling, man. I just got back from the gym. I was over here stuffing my face.
Let's go.
Want me to go live real quick.
So the question is, bro, I don't mean to, like, you know, I just got a question. Like, do you pay for clippers anymore?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Not all of them, but
my bad. I'm getting all in your business, bro. I'm getting all excited. I'm getting all excited.
Nah, you good?
He don't pay for nothing no more, man. That boy.
Right.
Hey, but you know, it's funny because I remember when I first started doing like the YouTube, the reviews and all that. I was real like I was like, man, I can't wait till Clipper Company start sending me stuff.
Right.
I can't wait. And then the fact that I'm here now is just like y'all were saying earlier. It's the journey, man. Like it's crazy.
Right.
But it's cool, man. But yeah, I still buy some. You know, certain companies won't send me stuff, or I have to message them, and then I'm like, you know, what's up? Let me get a trimmer or something. And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And if they don't, I'll just go buy it. You know, because I got to keep up what I'm doing on YouTube, regardless at any cost. You know,
I'm getting some clippers. I'm finally getting some clippers from TPOB, bro. Finally, he was.
Okay.
I hope he jumps on this because he know I ain't gonna lie, but I've been trying to get some from him because I like what he's doing, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? I might not agree with his approach all the time, but I like what he's doing. He stirs stuff up. He got people that follow him because they like what he does, and he makes his own clippers, and he's going crazy with them, right? And I like that, and I wanna support somebody doing something like that, right? So I was like, you know, what's up with some clippers or whatever, but he whatever, right? It never happened, right? So we got into a little back and forth on on the comments, and it ended up with him saying something about my JRL promo. You know what I'm saying? He ain't like that. So I was like, well, if you don't like that, then why don't you send me some this and that? So I'm finally getting some TPOB.
You
nice, bro. I like them.
That's what's up.
and to sending them clippers.
Right. Right.
Hey, you know what's funny is he says that because I remember I had to do something similar, man, with Babyliss back in the day.
Mm.
Like I remember I was messaging them like, "What's up, man? Let me get these clippers. Let me get these trimmers," and they would just leave me on red. You know, and I just kept doing it, and then
you start,
you know,
then you start
we're
popping,
here
and
a
then they
couple
start
years
responding
later.
to all the things they ever dissed you on.
They started, they responded to the
a
old
whole
one.
bunch of hearts on those as they get to the last thing you said. Hey, can I ask you something though, real quick? What was I gonna say?
Yeah, go
Would
ahead.
you ever, if any of you, like one of these major clipper companies, if they ever ask you to like get on board with them, is that something you would do? Like exclusive?
I mean, maybe eventually, but I don't think now I can due to what I'm trying to do with my YouTube and my Instagram. You know, I try to give everyone like an honest review. I mean, yeah, I do rock with a couple more brands more than others, but I let people know, like, yeah, they send me these for free and I got a discount code. So I'm going to rock with these more.
Right.
I'm going to use them more, but I'm still going to buy these other clippers and I'm going to give y'all an honest review. Like, whether I like the company or not, if it's a good tool, it's a good tool. And I'm always sure to let people know that. And I know if you sign with a company, they don't, a lot of them, they don't want you using any other tool at all. Like, you can't show it or nothing.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
So
not something
is there any bag big enough to make you exclusive?
Hey,
there's
money
always
talk.
a bag big enough.
Let's be real.
A bag big enough.
We got bills to pay, man. We got bills to pay.
Hey, I got a question. How did Dre let the cat out the bag, right? And man, congratulations. Coming up on CT Expo, man. We look forward to seeing you.
She drew you.
How did that?
She drew
Look,
you.
She made.
She got the wave cap, the glasses, and a smile. Good job, Maya. He said thank you.
I said thank you.
My bad. What were you saying? You were asking?
So I wanted to ask Tank, how did it come, man, that you connected with Jay and you know you're gonna be doing your thing.
Yeah.
Look, hey, she got my son on here, Dre, cracking up. But how did that opportunity you know come about?
Yeah. So I mean, we haven't really locked a lot of stuff in yet. We haven't really talked too much details. Okay. But I mean, I told Dre about it. Basically, what happened is he ended up giving me a follow maybe like a couple months after the original not the original CT, but last year's CT.
Okay.
So I want to say maybe like October-ish, he gave me a follow.
Okay.
And then that was basically it. Didn't hear from him. He didn't message me or nothing. And then, just me continuing to post and just, I guess, do what I'm doing. He came across some of my reels, my YouTube videos. I don't know exactly how he heard of me. I don't know who told him about me or whatever.
Okay.
But long story short, hard work pays off. You know what I'm saying? Me continuing to post. He saw it and he messaged me on Instagram maybe a month or so ago talking about, hey, are you going to CT? And I was like, yeah, well, what's up? And he goes, well, if you got time to talk, I'd like to talk to you about an opportunity. I was like, all right, cool. And then we set up a date and we talked and he basically asked if I wanted to help with getting content out there. And I was like, yeah. And that's basically where we're at. Like, I talked to him today and he said we're still good, but me and him really haven't talked a lot about it. Hey. We haven't really talked a lot about it, so. But yeah, man. So we're gonna be there.
You know what? That made me think about Tank. That we like me and Tank have. I feel like we're in the same alumni because I kind of feel like we both started on his Instagram around the same time. Because I'm not big. I'm not a YouTuber. I'm not. You know what I'm saying? I'm really just Instagram. And then I remember when I first met him in person, I had just kind of met him on social media a little bit, just not too far back before that, right? So every time I feel like every time we've linked, we're always working, bro. Like we never get to kick it. Yeah, and
we
that's
ain't
gonna
just
be the same thing at CT.
Right.
Gonna be working, you know what I'm saying? But over there's we're gonna be there for a couple days, so it might be different. But yeah, at TX Barber Expo, we was both working in the same booth, the Forward Barber Supply booth. when I went to go check him out in Houston a couple weeks back, he was judging, and then this past
Okay.
weekend he was a judge and I was a host. So like we really didn't even get to kick it out.
Bro, you know what? I just want to
Appreciate
say
it.
you're a great host, man. Like anytime I wasn't like locked into judging, I hear you talking. Wherever I was at, I hear you on that mic like live. Like not one time that I hear you sound bored, hear you sound like you know what was going on. Like you was just locked into what you were doing, and that's dope, man. Because you were hosting for
From
what, 5
1
hours,
to 8,
6 hours,
basically, bro.
bro. Like
Wow.
that's hard to do that
And she
continuously.
kept asking me,
That's
you
nuts.
want a break? And I told myself, I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep going because I felt like I don't know, like when I say that I'm gonna do something, bro, I wanna prove to myself that I can go as hard as possible. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
And I was prepared, bro. I really came like sat down and thought about different things I could say at different times. So it wasn't just me freestyling the whole time. It was me actually putting stuff in my phone that I want to say at certain times and stuff like that. So the preparation was definitely big. So it was more than just me yelling on a mic. You know what I mean? So
Part
yeah,
of
like
Yeah,
part
for
of that
sure.
too can be spoken to, because you know how barbers. I think all of us have been through that barbering phase where we overworking, right? Where you stand up and you cut all day, all night. You don't stop cutting until people stop. And Dre, we know you do it because every time you do, this the first, maybe the second time you've been on the live and you not been at the shop, just finished cutting hair or waiting for another client to come in. I think that creates good work ethic though. Even though in the beginning we overdo it and it's not conducive to good, healthy habits, but once you start to develop that kind of work ethic, I've learned in my experience that you can apply it. You could turn that on and off whenever you want, wherever you want. You could kind of tap into that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I could work. Oh yeah, the work ain't nothing. I could do the work. Just point me in the direction of where you want me to be, and I got that.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's one of the
That's
conditions
facts,
being
man.
on this black
Like,
island behind your chair will create, bro. Definitely.
Right.
Oh, Black Island. Okay.
Yeah, like,
And I think,
yeah.
Black Island.
It's
you know,
confusing
I
at
think
first, right? But then when you
that
think about it, it's
You talking about the mat? Talking about the mat?
yeah.
Okay. All right.
You talking about the
My bad. I just want to make sure I wasn't lost.
Hey, Tank, let me ask you a question. I just seen Cuts by Reggie on here. So both of y'all doing clip reviews. I asked Reggie this question before. I ain't gonna
don't put me on the spot.
Even though you cost me a whole lot of money getting this camera, chasing your content, I ain't gonna put you on the spot because you my boy. I ain't gonna do you like that. You feel me? But I want to ask you a question though, bro.
I appreciate it.
Does it become difficult sometimes to keep your reviews as non-biased as you can, be it that you review so many different clippers?
It's not difficult, man, because I just try to give people the honest truth, and I've been doing the clipper reviews for about 3 years or so, and I just try to be as honest as possible. And I always tell people when I'm doing my reviews, like kind of how Reggie does, like this is just my opinion, you know, like this is what my use from this has. This is what it's taught me. This is what it's shown me. So I always tell people like, this is my opinion. Like you can check out other YouTubers, other reviews, and create your own collective opinion. But I try to be unbiased because I try to look at it from my eyes if I was the consumer. If I was just a regular barber, because before 3 years ago, I wasn't doing YouTube and I was searching for clippers on YouTube, like which one works the best, or, you know, whatever you search for on YouTube to look for clippers. And that's why I try to be unbiased with it. So I don't think that I'm biased at all. If I don't like the clipper, I'll tell you, like, I don't like it. I think it works good, but I don't like it because of this. And if I do like it, then you'll know when I like it because I speak really highly and I'm excited as I'm giving my review. So maybe that is a little biased, I guess you can say. My actions are biased, but I try to give you all the facts.
That's along the same lines as Reggie. I think y'all both just have a very unique way of presenting what y'all present, but it's along the same lines. I got a follow-up question for that, and then I'm gonna turn it back over to Ash. Again, you made me pay for this damn camera, so I'm on your head. But serious question. I think I missed it, bro, because you started a review on a guard that's supposed to close all the way down to a half guard, and I think it opened up to a 1.5. Did you post a follow-up review
Yeah.
on that?
I just post the original video on it on my Instagram and on YouTube.
Yeah.
Basically, me just using it for a day. And me personally, I like it, but I don't like it, if that makes sense. Like, I can see how people need it and would want to use it, and it may speed up your cuts. But when I'm in the zone, I'm so used to my system that I'll forget about that guard and just grab, you know, my 1/16 or my one guard because it's something that I'm so accustomed to doing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I gave it to one of the other barbers, or I let one of the other barbers use it, and I didn't give it to him, but I let him use it. And he likes it. He's like, can I keep using it? I was like, man, yeah, go ahead. Like, I'm not going to get any more use out of it. And it's not that it's a bad product. It's just I'm already used to me cutting hair my ways, and I'm trying to get these people out, you know, in and out within my certain time frame.
Right.
Now, if I wasn't busy and I was going to do another video on it, then yeah, I'll use it again and see what I can actually do with it. But just for me, I don't think it was. It's just not for me.
And I asked the question because I am biased. Okay, yes, I am. I'm biased, and I've been seeing that guard come up because it's a unique color, right? I've been seeing that guard come up on my feed a lot, and what's crazy is I'm biased, but I'm loyal to a fault, to the point where I won't watch another review until I see that follow-up review. So I'm gonna go on YouTube and watch that review with that day using it, so I can get your synopsis, because I've already bought it to you presenting it to me. So I want to finish with what you presented, and then I'll watch the other ones. But I thought that was dope, man. I think it's dope that you're doing more than just clippers. Your ability to create content on the fly is insane, bro. It's lit a fire underneath me, bro. That it was much needed. I'm never going to live it down how much you made me pay for this camera, bro. Ever, ever, ever. And I'm never gonna let you live it down. But I appreciate it, definitely, wholeheartedly. I do appreciate you and what kid Kev, bro.
I got a question. Sorry. Well, I got a question, and I got something else I want to say, right? But my question is, but what you just said to Tank, you said that he could make content on the fly. What do you mean by that?
Tank we was in the process of recording the podcast, right? And Tank was on. It was the podcast we was recording with him, right? He was on as a guest. He was giving us the game, giving us the juice, and it wasn't understood or even acknowledged that Tank was in the process of conducting a podcast interview while creating enough content. I think he used content from that interview for like a week, maybe a week and a half, where he recorded it, chopped it up, changed the angles, put his logo on it, moved it around, and it was presented so well that you wouldn't know that the dude was even doing a damn podcast. I had no idea. I just recently seen the video where his wife caught him in the bathroom. They on vacation. He in the bathroom doing a clipper review. He got the camera set up. He just I can tell you your mindset, because a creator knows a creator, bro. He walked in that bathroom and he seen that light on the mirror. He said, "Damn, this would be a dope ass spot for that review." And he said,
you know what? Before you give me so much credit,
I told him that.
she told me to do the review in the
Hey,
rest.
but she locked in. She locked in.
Because the room I was in, the room I was in, bro, it had the worst lighting. Like, it was that dim ass yellow light, bro. Like, it sucked. So I wasn't gonna do it. And then she's like, "Well, do it in the restroom." I was like, "Man, I'm gonna be sitting on the toilet. Like, what?" And then she's like, "Just do it." So I'm like, "All right, fuck it." So I went and I did it, and then she probably tried setting me up. That's why
the video was so good, phone, bro. You know? The video is dope, because you see Tank be chopping, but you hear a woman's voice. I'm like, what the hell he got going on? Open the door. He's sitting in the bathroom, sitting on the toilet like a grinder, like a day one grinder. Taking a video in the bathroom.
Yeah, I like that. Like a day one. I'm gonna write that down.
I love it, bro. I love it, and it's encouraged me, bro. I did. Yeah, man. You don't even know, bro. You'll see. You gonna start seeing the product of the results.
This is what I thought when you said that you could create what's the name on the fly, right? I thought you were talking about like kind of like his lives, right? Because he just create, you know what I'm saying? Like he just talks and he be getting his thoughts fast out the mouth, and you do the same. Both of y'all, all three of y'all do the same thing. Like I'll say something, or somebody will say something, and then all of a sudden y'all turn into teachers right off the fly. So if y'all got, if y'all should do the same thing, I should do the same thing, right? Put a camera in front of myself, and that's what I'm still trying to learn how to do. I seen Tank, I seen Jay Blends, I seen a lot of people walking around with a microphone on them and a camera with them, and they talking to me going like this, and I'm like, man, I need to start doing that. I really need to start.
What it is, it's just I think it was Gary Vee who said it. I'm not 100% sure. But he said that one thing about creating content is sometimes you don't have to worry too much about creating content. You just got to document what you're doing, and that is the content. You know what I'm saying? So you just got to record what you're doing, and that can be the content. So when I'm talking to people, I try to record it. Sometimes when I get people in the shop, I record them. Like, we're just chilling, talking, and I record it, and I can use that for content.
I do.
But it's just,
too, bro. I do too. That's the other thing I was going to say. I got an idea for you. I don't know if you want me to do it here where everybody's watching, or if you want me to tell you on a... You okay?
I mean, I don't care.
Look, I thought this would be a good idea, right? If you tell your followers that if you buy it, like after you do a review, tell your followers, yo, if you I wrote it down here. It says, or if you buy this clipper and my review was accurate, or if you buy this clipper, if you end up buying this clipper, let me know if I was spot on with this review, and I'll post, or like to tell them to make a video, and I'll post your video as a collab. You know what I'm saying? That'd be a dope idea, because now what they're gonna do is they're gonna want to buy it, just not just so they could, but also so they could find out. Maybe they already wanted to buy it, but that'll give them another incentive to buying it, and then to either prove you wrong or prove you right. You know what I'm saying? Let's say they buy it and they mad at you, they can make a video. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't mean you have to post it, but I'm just saying, like,
I think that's
a
great idea, man. You just gave me an idea. I'm finna make a video about his ass with this camera.
Yeah,
that's what I'm finna do.
Yeah,
that's what I'm finna do. That's a great idea.
I think that'd be dope. Of course, that'd be more content, but it'll also be, you know, give people a voice. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure so many people bought clippers because of you, and they might have said thank you, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? But if you give them a chance to shine and let them, you know what I'm saying? You never know. They might be great at being on camera and not even realizing it. You know what I'm saying?
But also, it opens up the door, right? Because it's so many creative people in this industry that don't necessarily have the no one's incentivized them to go out there and start and put themselves out there. So coming from somebody like Tank, because Tank is so relatable, if you put that out there and present it that way, it opens up the door for somebody to say, you know what, Tank, somebody might hear that as a message, like, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and see, because surely he ain't gonna post my video. And then you fuck around and find the next creative genius out there, and they post that video, boom, and you.
Hey,
Reggie,
answer this question.
Yeah, what kind of camera you got, man? I see you talking about the camera. Reggie's trying to figure out the camera. What you got,
Sony.
Oh, you got a Sony.
60.
Oh, you got the wrong brand.
A6300. It does everything I want to do. It came with a nice 50 mil. I got a nice bag. I got some batteries. I got a nice tripod. I got an amazing deal. Marketplace.
Where'd you get it at?
Facebook
Marketplace. On top of it.
Facebook Marketplace.
Okay.
So I went and talked to a photography client that I have. He showed me a site where you can go and rent cameras and purchase cameras. But I wanted, yes.
What is it, B&H?
And instead of doing that, he brought a camera in, and we he showed me some things, and I had an understanding of what I was looking for to create the type of content that I wanted to create. And I question his ass to death, like I do y'all. I question his ass to death every time I seen a camera that looked like it could have been what I was looking for. Before I pulled the trigger, I asked his advice, because, like you know, it's a pretty decent investment, man, getting these cameras.
No, it is. See, the one I got was actually from B&H also. So I've had a camera for like 6-7 years, but it's like an older camera. So I wanted something a little newer. This camera was huge and heavy. It would hurt my arm. So I went on YouTube, because I don't know much about cameras, man. Everyone thinks I do. Like, I don't. Like, if it can shoot, I'll do something to make it work good. And I went on YouTube, looked up some reviews, asked one of this reviewer. He goes, yeah, get this one. It's not too expensive and it does what you want. So I talked to Edward from Forward Barber Supply, and he told me to go to that website. So I went there, and I bought so much stuff on credit.
Man,
I'm still paying
and the beautiful
card.
thing about it is if you don't know what the camera could do, or you don't know the capabilities of the lens, or you're not sure if this is going to work long term for what you want, you can rent it, bro, and it's not expensive. You can rent it, get it for 7 days, use it, apply it, make sure it works for what you're trying to do, and then purchase it if you want it, or go find it cheaper somewhere else. Definitely. I had to, bro, because I watched them videos and I'm like, my phone ain't doing that, bro. My phone ain't doing it. It's to the point, if you haven't noticed, I slowed down posting for like 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks, because every time I got so much content in my phone every day creating content, but as soon as I go back and look at it and kind of make sure it's ready to post, I look at it and then I look at the content that's being posted, and it's like, man.
But you know what, man? A lot of that can actually be fixed with just some color grading. Like get an app on your phone and just mess with the color a little bit. Because sometimes I still record on my phone. Happen and I have my camera with me, and I'll just upload it to my app, mess with the coloring a little bit, and now it doesn't look as good as my camera, but it still looks pretty good, you know. I use Video Leak.
What is that again?
Do you use what's the name? It's a Lensa. Do you use Lensa too? That's another one where you can change grading, shadows. You can blur the background. You can do a whole lot of videos straight from your phone.
Yeah, you can do that on a lot.
You can do that on your phone,
apps
right?
now.
To a point, but you can do it more. Like your phone has the capabilities of what the phone camera does, but you could take captured video and content, move it to these apps, and you can push it even further.
Gotcha.
Further, yeah.
Somebody on this joint all the way from Thailand.
And
That's what's up.
I use my phone for
Appreciate
TikTok video. I feel like a TikTok video is just it's for the phone, bro. Like it needs to be action packed, right in your face, whatever. But I want to be able to create that content that looks like it's professionally shot in a studio. I want to have that capability. But more importantly, for me, the only way I'm going to hold myself accountable to something, I'm an all-in type of person, bro. It's hard for me to half-ass associate myself with anything. It's all or nothing. So to go out and once I made that investment, it's forcing me to learn this camera. Because like you said, I don't know a whole lot about photography. I don't know nothing about cameras. So it's forcing me to learn something new.
Right. Yeah. And that's good, man. And like sometimes it's the same thing with barbering too. Like sometimes we get stuck in our ways, like we're not motivated to cut hair anymore, right? Like we're just you buy yourself a new clipper. Oh, I can't wait to see what this thing does. Same thing with this. You had your phone, which is good enough to make content, but now you've got this camera, so now you're like, oh, I really want to see what this thing does. And you're gonna watch a bunch of videos, you're gonna try editing a bunch of stuff yourself, and you're gonna be up late one night upset because it's not doing what you wanted to do. But then you're going to figure it out.
Man, you've been watching me, bro. You've been peeking through my windows, bro. I posted a video today. I posted that video. If I told you how long I've been working on that video, you wouldn't believe me, bro. That video has made me want to do everything, including almost stop cutting hair, bro. I've been so frustrated trying to edit that video and present it right. And it still has so much that it needs to do, but it's an accomplishment. For that to be the first video I shot on that camera, the first time I edited to that level, hey, I'm happy, bro.
And that's the same way it was with me too, man. Like I recently switched over all my content from, not all my content, but my YouTube videos. I no longer edit on my phone. So I was editing everything on my phone for the longest. I went over to my laptop and I bought a laptop. I bought Premiere Pro, and I've been using that. And the first video that I edited on it, I swear it took me probably like 3-4 hours, and I was only like 5 minutes in. Bro. And I was like, I'm never gonna be able to figure this out. And now I can edit pretty quick, and I'm clicking buttons. I'm not even using the mouse anymore. I'm just clicking buttons, using all the shortcuts. But because I put in that time and effort, and you learn what you got to learn.
Absolutely. And I feel like it's just adding value, man, because my ultimate goal is to be able to provide the tools, and if not the tools, the understanding of what I've experienced to the people coming into the industry so that they can be better equipped. I can't do that if I don't put myself out there and be the crash dummy for these kind of lessons and this kind of learning.
Hey, fellas, my bad, bro. I gotta go pick up
Yeah.
my son right now. It was nice chopping it up with y'all, and I'm gonna tune in next Wednesday for sure.
It's actually
All
10
right,
o'clock.
we
I'm finna get out of here too.
appreciate you.
Hermit, man.
I was getting. I gotta.
I'm gonna holler at y'all.
All
All right, man. Be safe.
Tank, my
bro.
boy. I can't thank you enough, bro. I appreciate you, homie. For real, for real.
Hey, I appreciate y'all, man. Like, I love watching y'all's videos. I was actually at the gym when y'all was going live, so I was watching y'all at the gym.
Appreciate you.
While me and my wife were working out, and then watching y'all on the way home, and I was making me something to eat when I got on live with y'all. So, but yeah, hey, y'all got some great content, man. Keep doing it.
Appreciate it.
Hey, my biggest advice to y'all is cut up the little pieces, like I know you're gonna do. That's how I did. Post it, and that's gonna help give y'all more traction, help build the brand more, help getting more recognition out there for people to go to the YouTube and to follow y'all on Instagram, man.
We working to get it to that next level, man. It's like you did the video when we first talked to you. Everything is a process, and you just got to take one step at a time, getting to where you're going. So yeah, we appreciate you, man. Please tell your wife thank you for that creative content she's loading you up with, in addition to what you're doing. Keep that coming, bro, and we appreciate your time too, bro. You too, bro.
All right, man. You have a good night, man.
All right,
I'm gone,
bro. All right, appreciate it.
Thank y'all.
Yes, sir.
Everybody that's still left on here, if you have not followed the I Cut My Way Out podcast, this is your opportunity to do so. Don't worry, this won't be your only opportunity because we here every Wednesday. So you could come back next Wednesday and follow. You could come back the Wednesday after that and follow. But if you don't do nothing, make sure you follow and turn on the post notifications so that you can see when we go live with these amazing lives, with amazing content. We striving to continue to create a platform where barbers like yourself and barbers that we all inspire to hear from and be like and get to the places that they are, to come on and you know, be transparent with us, drop the game on us, let us know something that we don't know. Maybe the next conversation to be the conversation that changed the trajectory of what you're trying to do in your life with your barber. So that's my piece. I've been Shot a Barber. We're gonna have my boy Eyes close this thing out, the brain behind the operation, my guy.
Sure. Greatly appreciate everybody jumping on, man, following, supporting. Man, we just continuing to try to build this thing, like you said, be a platform that celebrates and keeps trying to move the industry forward, doing our part. So we appreciate everybody. If you haven't followed us, click that follow button. Every Wednesday, 7:30 Central Standard Time, we're on, and we appreciate you guys. See you next Wednesday.